So actually, I posted a video on the internet as well on Instagram. It's a podcast of Lex Friedman, of one of the founders of JavaScript, founders of C++, and
Hmm.
he asked him, "What do you think? What is the current problem with coding?" So he was so angry about libraries. He said the problem with current generation of coders. He's actually the founder of Unix. He's the co-founder.
Yeah.
So he said the problem with current generation of coders is that whenever they see a problem statement, they go on internet and go this npm. They just
Yeah.
install it, and a bunch of code is
Yeah.
downloaded, and they come done with their problem statement. So the problem is not just inbuilt function. The problem is just there are so many libraries out there, and most of the languages are
Definitely.
JavaScript and Python. So pip this or npm this, and just everything is
Yeah.
thrown.
Yeah.
So they don't have to use their brain.
Yeah, and so yeah, definitely, I agree with you. Like the NPM and PIP has spoiled people right now in colleges, right? Also, second thing is what I feel is Stack Overflow is another thing, right? So if
Yes,
you're
we can
basically
start with
working on yeah, if you're working on something while solving problem, you'll think about it for a couple of minutes, and maybe you'll get frustrated and go on. Let's say Google type something, Stack Overflow is up for disposal, right? You'll go see the problem, you'll copy paste, and things actually work by copy pasting from Stack Overflow. So I think this problem solving capability or that thinking capacity might decrease because of this kind of problems, because students are not focusing on actually solving that problem, but rather basically getting an easy options via libraries, via Stack Overflow. And I'm not saying you should not use it, but at least try your 110% before using this kind of thing.
it. So
Because
there,
if you do that right, it's basically what I believe is like like everyone, like our ancestor used to say, right, practice is the only key to success. If you keep on practicing coding, every problem you get, you keep on practicing it, right? You might not get answer in, let's say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour, but let's say if you can try for that five, and if you have time, basically, if you can try those problems to code for, let's say, certain amount of time, if you're not able to, then you can take certain help. But what generation right now is doing is directly going on Stack Overflow, or maybe, and all kind of libraries are available, right? Even for JavaScript, Node.js, npm is there, you have pip and everything. Yeah, so I think that's where basically the quality of coder goes down, because you never practiced code, you directly use libraries and uh, Stack Overflows.
it's the same thing that actually study happened that people cannot remember numbers now. Like before mobile, everybody used to remember their friends' phone numbers or relatives' phone numbers. Now they just don't have to. So that
Yeah.
ability of human brain is decreasing day by day.
Yeah, basically I used to remember lots of mobile numbers, at least from my family members and few best friends, right now I don't even remember mobile number of my mother or father. Yeah, and I had this kind of incidents where I was stuck somewhere in rain and there was no network around, and my mobile was, I think, out of battery or something, and I was not able to call anyone because there was no mobile connectivity, no mobile charger there. There was landline I could have used, or maybe I could have borrowed someone's mobile from any cafes or anything, but for that I didn't actually remember anyone's number. Yeah, so I think that's something very similar problem, and we are actually losing out on our human
So like
mind, I think, because
situation
yeah.
happened like when India banned those Chinese apps. So there was a meme going around that thank God Stack Overflow is not Chinese.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, lots of developer might have resigned right there because the entire, I think, coding right now, if you're a developer, you can't go through that job, because at least when I start working right as a developer, I used to basically have this kind of timeline. Like I used to set a goal for myself. So okay, this is the problem. I'll give 2 hours for this. If not, I'll basically start using Stack Overflow. And if at that time I was not, if Stack Overflow was not available, then I was like, yeah, maybe I would have gotten a very harsh lectures.
So this copy pasting thing is so bad that our company, when I used to work in Sabarati, they went to a
Mm,
college for campus placement, and they
mm,
have a problem statement. It was a data structure problem statement. So can implement in any language, Node, Python,
mm,
Java, it's your choice. And what they did was half the class implemented in one language, which is Python. That too also, if you
mm.
copy paste the answer in Google, the first link that comes, it is for Geek for Geeks. So we told everyone, all our people who are checking the answers, just Google the first line of code and see if you can find the thing. And everybody copy pasted from one website, Geek for Geeks. So it's
Yeah,
hampering their knowledge. It's reducing their image as well of colleges when their students are just
yeah,
copy pasting everything.
yeah. I think my only humble request to all the students out there, right? And kind of, I'm also a student right now. I'm also learning many things right now. So it's not that I am grown and matured at certain level, but I would like to actually request people is like, hard work is a key, guys. You have to work hard. Don't go for this kind of shortcuts, because it will basically kind of, it may ruin your career in long run. Yeah.
So, and the one last thing that I want to ask about is since we are discussing on the libraries part, the framework
Hmm.
part. So right now in colleges, students are also very obsessed with frameworks, like
Yeah.
React and Vue, and so if it's a backend, then
Right.
Django and something like that. So
Yeah.
I just want, I know you already gave the answer, but this I just want, because people think that they will get job on the basis of that they are a React developer or
Yeah.
Vue.js
Yeah.
developer.
So yeah, I think that's not the case. So basically, even if you can impress some company or startup with that, with adding that React.js as a keyword, maybe on like job portals, or maybe adding it in your resume, might get you with the first interview, might get you the first interview. But the first interview actually starts with JavaScript basics, right? So at least in my online sales, I can guarantee you that no one will ask you anything about React.js unless and until you have added it in your resume, right? We basically focus on the basics, that we'll start questions from JavaScript and very basic JavaScript, and we'll basically drill you on JavaScript only. And let's say if any let's say React.js or Redux is added, we ask few questions around those, because we need to know if you're lying or you really know React or Redux. That can give you a certain age uh, at, let's say, third or fourth interview. But if you don't know JavaScript and if you know React only, you are basically not going from first to second interview. Yeah, you will basically get rejected at first interview itself. And first interview, by the way, is like 15 minutes interview at online sales, where we actually check if you are actually eligible for 1 hour interview. So you'll get rejected right there in 15-minute interview. So don't focus on frameworks, focus on basic JavaScript. Once you get to know that, okay, JavaScript, I know, and I can actually know the basics and fundamentals and everything, then you might actually start experimenting with, let's say, React.js or Angular.js or whatever technology you feel you are interested into. That's when you actually can start exploring that, because if you also know React, that is another edge that you can get against other candidates, right? But yeah, so basic, and that edge you will get only at, let's say, last or second last interview. But to get to last and second last interview, you need to know JavaScript very well. And that's only for, let's say, since you asked for, let's say, React and Vue.js and everything, but same thing applies to your backend as well.
So I'll give you my personal example. So when I used to take interview in Sokrati, so there was a guy who came for the front end development interview, and
Hmm.
actually I asked him the same question which was asked for me in my interview when I gave the interview.
Okay.
So my interview was taken by Divanshu. So what
Okay.
he did was, the question he gave me was, he opened your website onlinesales.ai on the laptop,
Hmm.
and he asked
Hmm.
that, for example, there is a header on your website onlinesales.ai, a big name like this. So he asked
Hmm.
me that if I click on this, I should get in the console clicked on and which element has been clicked.
Hmm.
So I did that, and I passed the
Hmm.
interview. So I remembered the question, and I asked the same question to him. I opened your same website onlinesales.ai, and I asked that guy, whenever I clicked on any element, just print out the element, whatever element has been clicked. So he
Right.
paused for like 10 seconds, and he said, I can do it this in Angular. I was like, what? I'm not asking you to do it in anything. Just do it in plain JavaScript in the console. The soul
Right.
was not familiar with the console itself. He didn't know how to write code in the console. So I was so baffled by this, and I asked him repeatedly, "This is the basic one. Forget about that. Just
Right.
click." He was like, "I can do this in Angular." I was like, "नहीं भाई, Angular में नहीं करना है."
Yeah.
He got
Yeah.
rejected.
Yeah. I think again, this is a big disconnect between your universities, colleges, and industry, right? Because somehow, and this is true for a long time, right? So somehow students have got this flavor that if I know this, I'll get this job. If I know this, I'll get this job. And the only solution to that is maybe this kind of podcast where, and maybe you can arrange some sessions, right? And colleges can basically arrange some sessions with tech leaders in industry, right? And I think even Pune right now, Mumbai, any metro you take, there are lots of, even tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? Lots of good startups coming from those as well. So you can just invite those kind of people. People are happy to help, right? With this ecosystem, because also they need good students for their company. So they will have to help your colleges to basically get good talent from your company as well. So I think this kind of sessions, this kind of interactions between students and industry, if that happens, right, I think these problems will automatically go away. Right now there is the disconnect, is what I feel personally.
So actually, this is pretty ironic that the whole part, like the reason people have started these engineering colleges, is to give people jobs. Their whole selling
Yeah.
point is that they don't emphasize on that our quality of education is so high. Their only emphasis that
Right.
X number of people get placed from our college. So this is
Yeah.
ironic that the only one thing that is required for a student to get placed, they are not doing that one thing.
Yeah. Because yeah. So I think colleges and universities are still very traditional, working very traditionally, right? Like let's say universities will recommend some syllabus, they will appoint, they'll suggest or recommend few books. Colleges will start teaching that. There will be no practical also, I feel, at least at my generation, right? When we were in college, uh, there were like 15, 20, 25 programs that you will be taught in practicals, and those were the only programs that you will get in exams. So for me, I think, at least I used to think at that, like, this is so stupid. Like, once I know any problem, you're asking me about same problem. Like, if you're basically giving me coding practice, right, at least ask some different problem and then evaluate me on that, right? The people I know, few people who used to mug up those programs at the end, like semicolon kahan pe aana chahiye, at that level, right? That knowledge is no use in industry, right?
Forget about that.
But yeah, college,
I have seen people writing code on paper.
yeah,
I'm like, what stupid is this?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think the colleges are still going very traditional way. I think they need to evolve so that students actually, our future unicorns and everything will come from students who are learning in our colleges, right? Um, Unicorns are getting there, or maybe industries creating so many unicorns because they learn something after they get into industry, or maybe some students are so bright that side by side they don't basically keep on learning few things. That's where you get good talent right now. But with the traditional learning, I think we should definitely, as a country, as a whole country, we should work on this kind of things.
Yeah. So It's 11:15 now. So this was a very fun discussion. So we'll try,
Yeah, same here. I loved it, dude.
yeah. So we'll try to do this again afterwards some point, because there are still some issues that we can discuss on. So we'll try to do this again.
Definitely, definitely.
Thanks for giving the time.
Thanks, Ganesh. Bye bye.
Bye bye.